I like this. You guys are playing a prank on me. This is good. I need to take music lessons again. Figure out the stands. All right. Well, it's good to be here this evening with you. Thank you. I'm not important at all, but a little bit about me. I've been married for 15 years. September 28th is 15. That's a little bit of life. A little bit of life. Went by like 15 months, I think. 15 months, and we have 3 daughters. Emily's 13. Vanessa is 9, and little Sophia is 4. And then my wife. So it's 4-1. We're not playing soccer in my house. Usually it's crafts and art. At least we're not doing Barbies. So crafts and art I can handle. And jigsaw puzzles for Vanessa. So it's enough about me. Let's talk about Jesus. Amen? That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about Jesus, and that's the best name on earth. That's the best name. And it's not just, it's a name that will never let you down. It's a name that always satisfies and always gives. Never has, it never runs out of resources, never runs out of source. It's a well that never runs dry. And so, we try different things, and we get to a point where it's like, I thought I had this, and it's like vapor, here today, gone tomorrow, and we're off to a new chase, for a new adventure, for a new high. And we can be chasing after thousands of ideas, different paths. This world offers you a buffet. All you can eat buffet, but at the end, you feel like you want to vomit. Until you come to Jesus, and He gives you real water, and He gives you real food, and then you feel like, okay, this is good. I want to come back for more, And so I want to talk about today about the 3 invitations of Jesus. The 3 invitations. There's no real deep theological reason why it's not 2 or 1. It can be 4 or 5, 7, but I just want to talk about 3 because the wording stands out and the significance and meaning stands out to me. This word came alive to me personally. It still is alive, and I just want to share it with you because I believe God has something in store for you guys this evening. So Matthew 4, verses 19 and 20. We all know this passage. It is read and repeated. It's simple. They quoted at Sunday school, where Jesus is saying, "Come, follow me, and I will send you out to fish for people." At once, they left their nets and followed Him. It's interesting. When somebody asks you to follow them, usually you should be running away from them, right? Ever heard a person come to you and say, "Oh, I'm so meek and gentle at heart. You should come to me and learn." Like, what? So everything all right? So we have this man named Jesus. You know him, who he is now. Let's go back 2,000 years ago. Jesus was the son of who? Joseph. See, you're all learned. We know Jesus, right? A to Z. Jesus was the son of a carpenter. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible, ladies. He was the son of a carpenter. Son of Joseph and Mary. And people are like, okay, who is he? And so here he is. It's in Scripture, and he's saying, "Come follow me." Wow. This is like serious. You don't follow people. Well, you do, but there's a different, he's implying something else. He's talking about, your purpose, your meaning, your everything. He's saying, "I will send you out." What follows is that once they left everything and they followed Him. He's talking about a radical invitation. The invitation to follow Him. It's not just, He's not asking us to go take a walk in the park. Let's go to lunch. Let's go have fish and bread. Watch me do a miracle. There's something more meaningful He's asking, and the invitation still stands today. It's still true for you and for me. This scripture is for you, each person here. Don't think that, this is for someone else. Don't think it doesn't apply to you. It applies for every single person. If you're created in the image of God, God gave you life, the invitation is for you. Follow me. That's his invitation. And he says, I will send you out. Now, what's exciting is that Jesus says, I'm going to send you out. There's Bible schools that send people, seminaries that send people, pastors send people. We send each other. Some people send us to places where we don't want to go. Jesus says, I'm going to send you out. I'm going to do something. You follow me. You're enrolling into my Bible school. It's a school of learning at the feet of who? Of Jesus. And there's something amazing that happens in the process. You learn at the feet of Jesus. You learn at the best. You're sitting at the best of the best. Why? Because you're going directly to the source. You're going directly to God. There's no one higher. There's no other school. There's no other person. Jesus is not saying, let me, follow me. Let me introduce you to my, director or coordinator, or to my teacher. Before he's inviting you to Bible school, Jesus today is inviting you to himself, young people. He's inviting you to follow him. Don't follow people. Imitate people, like Paul said, imitate me. Imitate. Have envy, good envy. To be like somebody in a good way. You don't follow people. You follow people, you will break fast. They will disappoint you. Because there's not one person who is perfect. You will be disappointed. You will go, but I thought he loved me. I thought she loved me. We live in a broken world. The best foundation is Christ and following him. That's where he won't let you down. It's the best school of ministry. It's practical. It's one-on-one. And the amazing thing is he gives you one-on-one attention. Can you imagine that? You get to sit at his feet and you get to listen to him as he speaks into your heart. You don't even have to go to anywhere. You can just be where you are, in your room, in your car. And you can have the best moment, the best teaching, the best lecture, the best everything right from Jesus himself. He will give it to you. Do you see how we have access to that? This is not for special category of people, the ministers, the leaders, the pastors, the people who are on stage. This is so wrong. Get that out of your head. The invitation to follow is for everybody. Every Christian. Each person, those of you sitting in the back. Jesus doesn't have front row, back row. He sees everybody equal. And so you come and you follow him, and he's not prejudiced. He doesn't have any, weird schemes. He doesn't have favorite people, good looking, not so good looking, superior, inferior. We think that. Our brains, we kind of begin to develop these things and, God, this, that. If you would only know how much he loves you right now and he's waiting. He's such a gentleman. He's not shoving you and tying up our hands and says, I'm going to make you follow me now. This is not parents telling you to go to church. This is Jesus being a gentleman saying, follow me. If you don't want to, fine. But you're missing out on something amazing. You see? The invitation stands always, at any point. God never gives up on you. Never think that, okay, he once invited me, I denied him, and so things are a bit quiet now. I feel like I don't hear him, he's gone. I don't see his. That's not true. Illusions. As long as you're breathing, if you're breathing, God is near, and he can't be nearer to you than he is right now. And so, Jesus will send you out. That's the best training. But here's the thing. Let me get my phone because I need to keep an eye on time. Sometimes I can talk too much and that's not good. Following has a cost. It's a bit different than singing the song on Sunday morning worship, where we say, Jesus, I will follow you wherever you lead, and we just promise allegiance to him, and we did, the emotions, the spur of the moment, and then the practical life happens, the day-to-day things. This is where the following is actually happening, when the hands are down and you're living your life. And so Jesus is, when he says, follow me, there were people that always came to him, and they would ask if we can follow you. Can I follow you? And Jesus, he never told them no. He never said, oh, you can't, you can't, you're not good enough. You've been sinning, you've been sleeping around. You can't, I'm looking for better people. But he would always answer the request. He would always lay it out. If you want to, let's talk about the cost. Following is not really free. We have to do a trade, okay? You're enrolling into a school, and the price is actually really, really high. It's really high. It's free, but along the way you begin to realize, and he begins to speak, and he doesn't lay it all out in the beginning. He just reveals to us, according to the measure of our commitment, according to the measure of our depth of our sincerity and our hearts, willing to surrender and saying, God, I want more of you. What does that mean? God, I want to surrender more of you. God, I wanted you to change me. What does that mean? It means we're asking for Jesus to clean house. Unless we thought he was just going to do a magic trick, and then one day I'll wake up and just be full of love, no temptations, walking like a saint. There are no such things. If people that bear fruit, he says, I'm going to do some more cutting and trimming so they can do what? They can bear more fruit. That's the school of Jesus' ministry. And so, it's more than a song. It will cost you comfort, because people came and said, can we follow you? Jesus said, foxes have holes, birds have nests. Let me tell you where I live. I don't have anywhere to lay down. What he's saying is, you can follow me, but let me tell you, are you ready to give up the comfort? There's many volunteers to follow Jesus until a certain point. When you need to give up things. We have a disease. We're always like crazy about possessing things and the comforts, and it's me, and we want to own things, and it's us. And his school of following him, and when he sends us out, he's got to cut all that stuff out. And it's this slow, painful death. And it hurts, and we're kicking and screaming. Part of us wants it because we know we need that. This is what we want. But there's the fallen part of us that's screaming and kicking. He says, no, I don't want it. I still want this. Well, you can't. You can only have one or the other. And we're living in a day and age where we're mixing it, where we can be kind of this and have our comfort zone, and I'll serve God, I'll give him this, and then this is kind of my life. This is kind of what I do. God, this is kind of, leave it up to me. We'll make a deal with you. There are no deals. Jesus said, I have nowhere to live. He's not saying you got to go be homeless. He's saying that there might be a time in your life where you will have to give up your comforts. Can you do that? If yes, if you're willing to take the challenge, you can come and follow me. Usually conversations ended quick. You didn't need no time to think it through. You just knew it deep inside if you were up for it. It will cost you everything you own. There was a man that came to Jesus, said, Lord, I want to follow you. What else do I have to do? And Jesus actually liked him. He liked his heart. He was trying really, really hard. He was doing so many things right. But there's one thing. In his heart, there was a place, a room where he was rich. And the riches were stored in this part of his heart. And Jesus, when you follow him, he wants all of your heart, right? He wants everything. He's not going to divide. Here's 10% for you. This is keep your money there, your business, your riches, and then the rest I can have it. No. And so in his case, Jesus said, you got to do one thing. You just go sell off everything you have, and then you can come and follow me. Jesus is not saying that we should sell everything and become poor. Jesus is saying, if you want to follow me, I need total control of your money, of everything you have, of all your possessions. And one day, I might do something radical. I might take it all away from you like he did from Job. I'll take it all away from you. Are you willing to still follow me? I want your whole heart, your everything. There can't be any. The heart is tricky because, see, the things in the heart, this is the place of worship. The heart is the place of worship. This is where the most sacred, the most important, the most devoted things lie in the heart. And for this man, he had riches kind of hidden in the corner. And he was sick from it. Why do you think he came to Jesus? Because he was sick and tired. It felt good to kind of do things right and honor his parents. But there's something that wasn't tying him up, and he was tormented. Jesus says, I'll set you free. But we have to do this surgery. Are you up for it? How many of you still want to enroll in Jesus' school of ministry? It will cost you relationships. He said, if anyone comes to me does not hate his father, mother, wife, children, even his own life, such a person cannot be my who? Disciple. He's not saying you have to hate your parents. He's not saying you have to hate your sibling. I love Jesus more than you. I hate you. That's not what he's saying. The man came and says, I will follow you, but let me first go bury my dad. What he's saying is, he's probably in his older years. Let me finish, this life with him, and once he's done, I give him the proper burial. I'm going to follow you. Jesus is not against. That's a very noble thing to do. That man deserves praise, honor, respect for parents. And he's saying, follow me, let the dead bury the dead. That's radical. What he's saying is, listen, I want to be more important to you than your mom, than your dad, than your brother, than your sister, than you taking care of your parents. There might be a day when I'm going to call you to something, and it's going to hit at the relationship. And that's why it hurts a lot, because these are people that mean to us so much. We love them, they love us. But Jesus says, do you love me more? Jesus is saying, do you love me more? As much as we love people and relationships, Jesus is asking for a greater love. He's asking for a greater surrender. We can't do it on our own. That's why he's saying, you follow me and I will make you a disciple. I'm going to show you how. We can't do that. We pretty much failed, big F, in all the points immediately. You try, you will fail miserably. We have to go with him and follow him step by step. Ultimately, to follow him, it will cost you your life. He says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up the cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. Basically, he's asking us to die to ourselves. Die to our own passions and desires. That's, in one way, we think, oh, that's so cruel. He's trying to just have it all to himself. Yeah, but he created you for himself. Where did we get the idea that, it's me and my life? They've been teaching that in school and in college. It's your life. Hollywood, the music industry saying, it's your life. Do what you want. You want to party? You go party. You want to sleep? You will go sleep. Be reckless. Live with abandon. It's short. And Jesus is saying, no, I gave you life. You were my idea before you were conceived. I created you for me. The Purpose-Driven Life book begins with, it's not about you, it's about God. You see? And when you think like that, immediately things change what it means to follow Jesus. It's actually, I want to. I need Him so much. There's nothing better for me. I'm lost. Yet we're so confident. We live so right. We think we got this. We got control of our life. And there are plenty examples around us of how that control comes crushing down. Everything that people build up, store it up. They go down into the grave. Go back to where they came from. He made us for Himself. So the first invitation is the invitation to follow. I urge you to enroll and stay enrolled. If you haven't, if you have, stay enrolled. If it hurts, it's good pain. There's no gain if there's no pain. You go to the gym, all the men out there. If you go to the gym and you're just walking around chewing bubble gum, looking at ESPN, nothing's gonna grow. Okay? No cardio, if there's no sweat, if you're not lifting heavy, if you're not, lifting iron and carrying all across the gym and things, nothing's gonna happen. You see people, they go to the gym and all they do is just look at others, chew gum, and sit there and wiggle on their phone. It's like, what are you doing here? Go to the library. You can't. There's no results. You gotta work. You gotta lay it all out. If there's one man that's worth it all, is the Son of God, the Son of Man. Lay your life out for Him. Believe me, you will not regret it. It's going to be the best decision you made. And you can be assured He will not abandon you. He will be with you. He's going to provide the means. He's going to train you. It won't be easy. Why? Because we're all stubborn. We're all full of it. We're all full of pride. It comes out backwards, frontwards, whatever. Okay? It's pride. It's ego. It's me. We're sick. And He's so loving and He's so kind and He's just sitting there with us. I'm like, okay, let me try this. And He does this and He does this. Just constantly just working with us, trying to mold us like clay as we fall apart, and He's still at it. Second request, an invitation, is to come and drink from Him. In John chapter 7, verses 37 and 38, Jesus makes a strong call. But before that, if you read the chapter, John 7, there was a Feast of Tabernacle. And this was a feast of great celebration and joy. It was an 8-day feast where everybody got together to the temple in Jerusalem, and they all celebrated. It was a celebration after fall harvest had been completed. It was a celebration of God's provision for Israel and for deliverance from Egypt. Okay? And so all the people came from all over, and they lived in temporary shelters. 8 days. It was a party, celebration of everything that God has done. And so on those days, every day, the high priest would lead a procession to the pool of Siloam, which was the closest pool to the temple. He would go there, he would fill a golden pitcher with water and return it to the courtyard of the temple, and then he would pour it on the altar. They would pour it on the temple, which was a sign of water that was given from a rock in the desert to the people of Israel. And they would do that every day, but on the 8th day, they wouldn't do that, because it was more like, it was complete, it was finished. God had provided His people. But on which day Jesus shows up? On the last and greatest day of the festival, which was day 8. Imagine everybody's just having a good time, plenty of food, plenty of drink. They're drinking, they're feasting. 8 days of just high emotions and good time and celebrating, rejoicing before God, singing as they poured out this water every day. And then look at this. So now, knowing this backdrop, let's read the scripture that we've been reading for so long. On the last and the greatest day of the festival. Jesus didn't show up right away. He came later unnoticed. And then He kind of surprised everybody. People were looking for Him. Is He coming? Is Jesus here? He was nowhere to be found. And then He shows up. And on the last day, at the peak of everything, Jesus stood and said in a loud voice. It was a proclamation. It was a loud declaration. There was noise, people everywhere, and Jesus just takes the stage and says, "Let anyone who is thirsty come to me and drink." Right when they're celebrating and water is being poured out on the 8th day, that has no place on the 8th day. It's all finished, complete. Jesus says, come to me if you're thirsty, and I will give you a drink. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture had said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. Who is Jesus inviting? He's not inviting the rich. He's not saying, come to me if you have money. I have something for you. He's not inviting the special VIP guests. He's not inviting the priests and teachers of the law. The prerequisite is, come to me all who are, what? But anyone who is thirsty. You guys are going to the third point. It's scary here. I might as well skip this one and the last one. Anyone who is thirsty. The condition is thirst. It's an interesting observation, because thirst is something that applies to all people. If you noticed? It's a neutral prerequisite. It's not about race, status, rich, poor, nationality, Jew, Gentile, Roman, Greek. He said, if you're thirsty, you come to me. Friend, here's the truth. Every single one of you here, me, we experience in our life a deep thirst. It's a thirst for meaning. It's a thirst for purpose. It's a thirst for answers to the big questions of life, of my destiny. The question of, is there someone out there? Does someone love me just the way I am? Not for my looks, not for my money, not just the way I am, just like that. Does anyone love me? There's a thirst in your heart, in my heart. See, what happened is when the fall happened and there was a void that was formed in your heart, in my heart, something went missing. Something that only Jesus can put back. But that missing piece, that jigsaw puzzle, and it's a 1,000-piece puzzle, and that one piece is missing. You think you have your life together. Everything is falling into pieces. Your career, your marriage. This girl loves you. Everything is falling together, but you just can't sleep at night because deep inside, there's a missing piece. And somewhere it's not stuff. Somewhere it's beyond what you can do, and you're asking the big questions of purpose of everything. Jesus is calling out to your and to my inner need and cry of the heart and of the soul. If anyone is thirsty, come to me. I'm inviting you. Jesus, we just celebrated 7 days of feasting, eating and drinking. There was plenty of everything, but Jesus saw something more. He saw a people who were hungry, a people who were thirsty, a people who were looking for meaning. The celebration, the festival was all nice, but He came and He just spoiled everything on the 8th day and said, hey, there's one more thing. If you're not satisfied after 7 days, you come to me, and I will give you living water to drink. There's so many ways that people quench thirst. There's so many things that are offered to you and to me. There's the career. People climb the corporate ladder at the expense of relationships, marriage, and family and children, just to make a name for themselves, to get that title, get that promotion. There's so many ways. It's a buffet, like I said, this life. For others, it's alcohol. You gotta somehow quench the thirst. And so you kind of try to quench it by just forgetting about everything and just thinking, okay, for now, for at least for a while, it's good. And then it all comes back because it doesn't work. For others, it's drugs. Trying different things. What is that all about? What is this? Sex. The enemy says, oh, have pity on yourself. There's pornography. You just you have the phone. You're at home alone. Life is so bad. You've been hurt. You've been, nobody understands you. It's okay, he just throws those marbles in our backyard. What is that? There's this thirst, this cry. That's all it is. It's a cry. It's a thirst. It's a yearning. It's a desperate cry of the heart. See, and all these things, the son that left his father, he began to just squander. He took his wealth and just began to live and party. But see, what happens is, it's all for credit. You swipe your credit card, and it stacks up, and then the creditors come to you. And the payment is due. Drugs are not free. Your health comes knocking on you. It's good for the moment, and then you're thinking, what in the world? I hate this stuff. I don't want to do this. And you're wondering, how is it that I'm doing what I hate, but I keep on doing it? See, it's a deep thirst. The deep thirst. Remember that day when you really, really wanted to drink, when it was such a hot day? I remember high school, lived in apartments, came home, dropped our bags. We had a full court basketball in apartments, full court, pretty nice, right? Even if it was a dump, as long as it had basketball, that was the best place to live. Full court, and we would go and just play. And hot day, 100, who cares? You're 16, 17, 18. You can't do that now. But then it was and then we would pray, and then you would begin to feel this thirst arise. Or if you play soccer, this thirst is calling you in that game. Ping pong, all those things, golf. Golf. You just, the evaporation from the grass is not enough to quench you. So you play soccer, and then you see this build up, and and you want to drink, but you got to finish that game, We got to finish it. How much? 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, and it's man, I'm dying. My tongue is sticking to. And it's and then it's everybody's red, just wet like chickens. And then the game is over. And you go for the hose, and you had to connect it to the apartment building. Just turn it on. And then everybody's just drinking. And those the first 15 seconds, that's euphoria. It's euphoria, that water. What if someone would give you a Coke instead? When you're really, really thirsty, would you go for a Coke? Or would you go for a cup of water? You wouldn't go for the Coke. Water's free. You got to pay for the Coke. You go for water, and you drink that Coke, and it's the sugar, and it's oh, it's so good, but then it's I want more. I can drink more Coke. It's okay, I'm still thirsty. You're not quenched. That feeling when you have water, and you feel your thirst is quenched. It's okay, it's good. See, this is what Jesus is saying. If you're thirsty, put everything else behind that you've been trying. Because you keep going for it. And we humans, we're so stupid. We mess up, we fall, we bleed, we get up, and we go at it again. The corruption and the sin and the cancer and this void, going back years ago, it's clear as day. Yeah, there's something in us that draws us to that again. So we go in a different direction, change it, the same thing. You know what I'm talking about? I thought, man, if I just could get a raise. I was single. If I could make this much money, I'm going to be good. Just this much. Well, that day came. I'm okay. Kind of felt good for a few weeks, and then man, back to that empty feeling again. So I'm thinking, if I could just $3-4 more, I think I would be good. I'd be able to, do the budget, the finances, everything's good. You reach that point, And then strange thing, you're still thirsty. It's never enough. How many of you know it's never enough? It's never enough. You buy that new purse, $200, now I need a $400 one. You have a nice phone, it's an old phone. What's wrong with it? Nothing, it's just old. We need stuff, and so we go for stuff, and there's thirst. And what is it? I'm not trying to kind of, make this, something spiritual, but I'm just trying to show that deep inside of each one of us, there's a longing. There's a thirst. And only Jesus can quench the thirst. Can somebody say amen? Amen. He says, you come to me. He said to the woman, the water that you're drinking, you're going to want to come back and thirst again. He says, the water that I give you, you will never thirst again. It will become in you a stream of living water. You will come back to me, and it will be enough. I will be more than enough for you. You look at all those things that the world has to offer. It's buffet. It's Vegas lights, and you say, you say, thank you. No, I have Jesus. I'm going to go drink real stuff. I'm going to go drink what satisfies, what will quench my thirst. He's my delight. He's my total satisfaction. You can imagine living like that as a young person. See, it's in our young years when there's this passion, this drive, I need to get to, this desire to give myself to something, to give it all. We want to conquer the world. We want to make things happen. That's the perfect time to just do it all for Jesus. Give it all to Him. Drink, come to Him. He's giving you free water. You don't need anything else. And so, G.K. Chesterton said, meaninglessness comes not from being weary of pain. Meaninglessness comes from being weary of pleasure. We think pain is the most awful thing, and we try hard to get rid of it when it hurts. Pain can actually be a good thing. Sometimes God sends us pain because it's like medicine. But if there's always pleasure, and we're crazy in the West, we're pursuing pleasure, we're paying everything, we're pursuing possessions because we can, because we have money, and we're feeding ourselves, we're pursuing pleasure, fun, it's about me, it's about how I feel, it's about a good time, and we're posting it on Instagram. I'm here, I got this, I bought this. But how many posts have you seen about people being honest about the emptiness and the cry of the soul? How many posts have you seen people being open saying, you know what, I'm at my wit's end, I'm just broken, I'm tired. I've tried everything and nothing is satisfying me. I haven't seen any posts like that. On social media, everybody's having a good time. But that's just one side of the coin. So when Jesus said on the 8th day, He was speaking to the other side of the coin, saying, if you're thirsty, meaning everybody is thirsty, come to me. That's all you need to have is just thirst. I'm going to give it free for you. You don't have to pay me. You can just thank me later when you try me. There was a time in my life, I didn't have youth like this, what you guys have right now. I'm 36 years old, but back when I was 15, 16, probably 14, my teens, it was a conservative church, attending Friday night meetings, Friday night prayer meetings. Who usually goes there? Like Friday night? Like back in my day, it was kind of like older people and grandma and grandpas, and everybody else was busy. And there were a few and so we just came and pray. But man, those seasons with God just begins to really lure you in. He's just like a magnet attracting you. And I've discovered something amazing at those services. There was a stretch of time that lasted several months. On the outside, it looked like a very boring old school generation service. Why would people want to go there? You won't hear like deep theological word, kind of old songs for a young person like me. But interesting things happened there. A well opened up for me. And I looked forward to Friday nights more than I did to any other service during the week. God was meeting me there. Every time I would get on my knee, I would look around and I would think, God, is anyone else feeling or noticing what I'm noticing here? Is Jesus real like for you or for me? And everything was kind of like stale and kind of, but for me, like Jesus was giving me his drink. It was this thirst, and to the outside eye, you can't see, like not much is happening, but something was happening inside of me. I began to just drink, and I would come back and drink again. I come back from high school, drop my bag, and I would lock myself behind the door, and I would just drink from him. I didn't tell him about my requests, about everything. I would just drink, and he would just love me so much. I would go take my lunch in high school, I was a library aide, go in the back where the books were, eat my French fries, and read my blue Russian Bible. I can't say that I did that all the time. I'm not a saint. I'm a broken person. Jesus is working in me. But there was this thirst, and Jesus was meeting me. And he was completely just satisfying me, showering me with his fresh water. And then the Friday would come again, what seemed like an ordinary Friday to me. It was such a blessed time. You see, friend, you don't have to go to a place to experience revival. You don't need a great, awesome speaker here to experience an awakening and the quenching of your thirst. Jesus is inviting us to himself. Not to your pastor, not to anyone else. He's directly inviting you and me to himself, and he's offering something amazing for you. You can be all by yourself and experience heaven on earth. And we kind of get caught up in the fireworks. Gotta do this, the light, the shows and everything. You know, I'm getting tired of all of that. I'm getting tired of social media. I'm getting tired of reading about everybody else's life, people that I don't even know. Man, I don't even have time to know about Jesus. If I could give him half an hour of my day and turn off the phone, can you imagine what would happen? Like just 30 minutes of prime time. Like prime time. Maybe for you prime time is morning or evening. For me prime time is like, you know, the 6 a.m. to 8. Kids are asleep, everybody's sleeping. I make my perfect cup of coffee. Always a perfect pizza. Always. The manual press. I'll make you one if you want one day. It's always perfect. I'm really picky about that. It can ruin my devotional sometimes. And let's get my cup of coffee, sit in my chair. You open up the word and it's just like, Lord, I am here. And you said that if I come to you with thirst, you're gonna give me water. And today I had an amazing time at home. I had a great time. Not every day is like that. Sometimes I sleep in, like yesterday. I had a great time today. He came. He came because I pushed in. Because I kind of said, Lord, I mean it. Lord, I really want it. And when you mean it, when you really want it, you have to acknowledge that you're thirsty. You have to feel the thirst. If you don't feel it, you should pray, God, take away the desire and the thirst for all of this in this life. Refocus my thirst into the things that matter, and that's you, the person of Jesus. That's all we need, really. We just need to know more of Jesus. We need to enroll into the school of Christ, of following him, drinking from his cup. Friend, and that's all we need, really. This is a Bible school. There's your recipe for revival. Sometimes people are calling people to themselves, to other things, to 10 steps to something. I just know one step, and that's Jesus saying, if you're thirsty, you come to me, and everything else will follow. That's it. You don't need anything else. I had a third point. I think this is enough. I just want to pray with you guys. If we can just rise to our feet. I just want you to be honest with yourself and with God. When he says, come follow me, when he says, if you're thirsty, I mean, he's being very open and very frank, very honest. He's like, he's acknowledging you. He's respecting you and me in a very great way. And he's stepping back and he's asking the question and he's stepping back and he's giving you time to see what you're gonna do. We think God is like there with the stick, looking to kind of tie me up and force me into heaven. He's not doing that. He's just inviting. And today we talked about the 2 invitations. He's saying, follow me and I will send you out. And he's saying, if you're thirsty, come to me and I will give you water to drink.